Okay, just to keep things a little bit neater, I'm going to move this to the top. All my tonic dominant stuff. Because I'm going to put these Roman numerals in there and it's going to get messy. Okay. So now, my first chord, first of all, I'm going to analyze this in the key of G. So I'm going to put G colon, meaning G major, capital G. G major is what we're analyzing this in. So what is this first chord? First chord in G major is 1. Root position, no inversion needed. Perfect, right? Great. Now, let's look at this next chord. What can I put on the downbeat of this chord? I could put, well, we have a D, right? So let's think about, there are going to be 3 chords that have a D. Let's zoom out here for a second and just think about that. Okay, if I'm just looking at triads, I can make this D be the root, in which case I would build a triad above it. Let me do it in quarter notes. Okay, so D can be the root. D could be the third, in case I'd have one note above it and one note below it. Or D could be the fifth. D could also be the 7th, but let's leave that off for now. Okay, so what are my 3 chords here? This is D, F sharp, A, so that's a 5 chord. B, D, F, in the key of G, that's a 3 chord. So that's going to be a minor 3 chord. Or G, B, D, that's a 1 chord. Okay, so what's going to be my favorite to use of those 3? My options are a 5 chord, a 3 chord, or a 1 chord. Let's eliminate the 1 chord. Here's why. I went a big 1 here. I want to give a sense of motion a little bit. I want to get off of 1. That doesn't mean I don't want to leave the tonic area, but I do want to give a sense that something is happening. I'm not just playing the same chord over and over, right? Because that's not a very interesting harmonization. So let's eliminate the 1 chord as a possibility. The 3 chord could work. But I'm not going to use the 3 chord, and for a kind of strange reason, but check it out. What I'm going to try to do here is use 1 chord to cover this whole measure in kind of a strange way. So I want D and I want this C to maybe, if I'm lucky, I could get that C to fit into the chord as well. So if I went up 1 more note on my 5 chord here, what would I have? C. D, F, A, C. That makes a 5-7 chord. Oh, wouldn't that work great right there? Right? I don't have to do that. I could put different chords on every beat, but I can make all the notes of the melody in this 1 bar fit in 1 chord by using a 5-7 chord. Even though I'm still in this tonic prolongation, I can use a 5 chord. That's okay. And it's actually only going to be a 7 chord on this last beat when the C comes in. So check it out. Just trust me. So I'm going to use some kind of 5 chord here. And then here, it's going to be some kind of 5-7 chord. All right? We'll figure out the inversions later after we write in the bass line. But I think that'll work. I can make a 5 chord work for that whole bar. Now, I've been telling you we want 1 chord per quarter note, right? We can use the same chord over and over. We're going to put a passing tone in that bass line, just hold on to that idea for a minute. We'll come back to what we're going to do here, and it'll be cool. Trust me. Let's look at the rest here. Now, after some 5 stuff, I'm still prolonging tonic, so it would be really good to go back to tonic. Can I make this B work in tonic? I sure can, actually, because I did it right there. So let's call this a 1 again. Some kind of 1. Might be an inversion, who knows. Now, this predominant chord. What are my 2 main predominant chords that I like to use? 4 and 2, right? So, let's try 4 first. Does a 4 work? I have an A. So I need a chord that's got an A. Let's just figure out what our 3 chords of A are. So it could be, A could be the root. Oops. To be that. A could be the 3rd. Or A could be the 5th. Okay. So if A is the root in the key of G, that's a 2 chord. Hey, that worked. Let's see what the others are anyway. An F sharp chord in the key of G is the leading tone. That's a diminished chord. So let's not use that one because that is definitely not a predominant chord. Our third option is a D, F, A, which is itself a 5 chord, which is definitely not predominant either. It is dominant. So I can't get a 4 chord out of that A, but I can get a 2 chord, right? So let's make this a 2 chord. And it'll be minor. And this we already know is a 5 chord, because we already built that. And then this is a 1 chord. Okay, so that's what we'll do here. So let me just fill this spot in. Saying, because I left this out, but that's going to be a 5 chord too. So we're going to go 5, 5, 5, 7, 1. Maybe we'll change the inversion here because we kind of have to do something different here. So the inversion will probably change. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so that's how I'm going to harmonize it. Now remember, when you're harmonizing stuff, you could harmonize this differently. You could harmonize it very differently, and it could be totally correct. So it's really hard, especially in an online class like this, for me to say, I'm right and you're wrong, because this is an artistic interpretation we're doing here, right? So you could do something totally different, and it would be perfectly right. There's a lot of correct answers to this. So keep that in mind, that I'm only doing it one way. You could do it a totally different way. Okay, our next step in the process is let's write out our bass lines.